Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of the Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. It's me, you see, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, still giving away a free flamethrower with every IT purchase. Yes, it does come with a fun Picatinny rail adapter, so you can mount it to any standard AR-15. Go to toppingtechnologies.com and click the flamethrower button to learn more, or click the URL in the video description below. Lastly, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part of the podcast, you have some sad news. Lexus is officially killing the RC and taking away the V8 coupe they once had, and some people did love. Now, this comes to us thanks to Nico, who's a writer at The Drive, in which they say, quote, the Lexus RC is going away and is taking the V8 RCF with it. Yet another big displacement, naturally aspirated V8 coupe bites the dust as they become more and more rare. And there you can see the top trim level of the Lexus, and it looks pretty cool. I mean, unfortunately, my cars always have to have 3 pedals, also known as manual transmission, so not, I was about to say not my cup of tea, but I'm not British, I'm American, so not my brew of Yangling beer, which incidentally enough is the only beer company that isn't owned by a major corporation. It's still family owned after all these years. Literally the oldest brewery in history. Not sponsored, but just a fan, though I partially digress. Now, they say, quote, sorry about that, diving the actual article here. They say, I've always admired the Lexus RF from afar, but I've never driven one. I adore the way it looks, the fact that it's rear-wheel drive based, and that it offers both a naturally aspirated V6 and V8. So it's a little sad, even surprising, that the Lexus is finally killing the RC off after its 11-year run. Unfortunately, most of the RC lineup is going out with a whimper, not a bang. Only mild changes have been made for the final year of RC's life, like F Sport rear-wheel drive models getting red brake calipers instead of orange, which, that's like that, or they're just adding a couple more drops of dye into the paint bottle. That's one of the laziest things I've ever heard of in terms of making a change. For a second, I almost thought this was General Motors. Now they say, quote, still for Lexus loyal fans, those little changes proved your car to be a final model of the year and somewhat special. Yeah, I don't know about that. Again, this isn't like, I don't think it's going to be put in a time capsule and going to be auctioned off at a Barrett Jackson auction in a couple decades for, 6 figures plus. It's, yeah, by no means going to be considered a collectible. I mean, the interior looks okay, but ooh, look at that. That automatic transmission shifter is an abomination to the V8. They should all have a stick shift. They should all have a manual transmission bolted to the engine by default, obviously, but I partially digress. Now they say, quote, however, there is a Lexus RCF Final Edition, the only version of the RC sold for 2025, which lets you breathe the brand's stylish coupe and go out in a cloud of tire smoke. Its glorious 5-liter free-breathing V8 still makes 472 horsepower, which is still sent through an 8-speed automatic to just the rear tires, which, it's fun that it's real drive, don't get me wrong, but yeah, I wouldn't brag about, it's got an 8-speed automatic transmission. I mean, you mean like most cars that aren't EVs these days? Like, I mean, what's the Chrysler family have now for their transmission? Like 12 gears in it? I'm only partially exaggerating. That company's a joke in and of itself in more ways than not. Now, they continue to say, quote, but now you have also 19-inch forged aluminum BBS wheels, Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires, carbon fiber aero bits, and 4 colors. Incognito, I don't think they made this with Google, I don't think. Radiant Red, Sonic Iridium, and Ultra White. Surprised they went with that last color, but I partially digress. Lexus also says the engine and rear differential have been retuned for smoother operation, which, great, they did some software development. And here you can see the glorious, impressive, the red brake calipers, which, again, they look cooler than, just having plain old non-colored brake calipers, but it's fine they're making a big deal by going from orange to red, which, an enthusiast and, someone who's really dedicated to the brand will notice that, but 99% of people won't be able to. They won't know this is the final year, the final send-off. If they really want to do a final great send-off, again, they would probably lose money on this, but come out with a V8 and a stick shift. So get the best of both worlds, put that in the car, and go all out with everything. Again, I don't know if it'd be a loss leader, but I don't know. I think it'd be cool to do a proper send-off, but that's just me. They also note that the R8 has been showing its age for years, progressively getting more old-fashioned as newer competition came out. Modern rivals like the BMW 4 Series and Audi S5 made the RC feel like a dinosaur of the segment. It always had made its charming. It stuck to the old school recipe of larger naturally aspirated engines up front and drive to the back. Sure, there's a Turbo 4 model and even a hybrid, but the Lexus RC never ditched the V8, which, again, I do appreciate. It's sad that that's becoming rarer and rarer in the United States. But Trump in office, hopefully that changes. Maybe he'll make America shift again, perhaps. I'll give a $10,000 tax incentive for every new car, so the stick shift. I mean, it worked for the EVs. That was one of the biggest reasons people adapted those abominations. I'm only partially kidding, exaggerating. There's a couple of use cases where an EV will make sense, but I like to feel dead inside, so I like my Honda Civic SI with the stick shift. I can go darn near everywhere in that place, though not very quickly. But it's fun to stick shift, downshift in the corners. I partially digress, though. Now they continue saying, well, while it makes sense that this is the RC's final year in production, as LS needs to move on finally, it doesn't mean it'll leave without a few tears being shed. Its kick-ass styling and raucous engine will sorely be missed, which, I mean, I don't know. This reminds me of a lot of cars where they had potential, and shoot, it's almost like the Nissan GTR. They put a lot of research development into that vehicle, and then for like over a decade, they basically did nothing. They changed the body panels by a little bit, but the transmission was always automatic. Disappointing, obviously, but they really didn't put much effort into really improving the vehicle year over year, or even having like a major improvements every 5 years. So they say this will be missed, and I'm sure some people will miss it. And the only sad part is, yeah, there's a nice V8 luxury vehicle. But that being said, if I won the lottery and I was in a position to buy a luxury vehicle as opposed to my little Honda Civic Si, or maybe I've never sell her. I love her too much. That little green mean machine. If I were to become audaciously rich and buy, expensive, luxury vehicle that's sporty, I'd buy a Cadillac CT4V Blackwing or a CT5V Blackwing because, well, the CT4V Blackwing is twin turbo V6 and CT5V Blackwing is a V8 both with stick shift options. And they got nice copious amounts of leather, probably 3 cows or murder just to get in there, which again is 110% renewable resources. Cows make more cows. I would argue that's the best thing for the environment is to use more leather. So I got a leather couch behind me, though. Can't really see it on camera. But yeah, it's one of those things where I would get the Cadillac because it's more sporty. This is, again, for a lot of people, this would be sporty-ish. It's got the paddle shifters, which I think is an abomination to the automobile. But some people do appreciate the paddle shifters. So this is a sporty luxury vehicle. But again, the other ones had, just as big engines. And they had the stick shift option. BMW still has the option. Cadillac still has the option. And again, granted, those cars will probably break down after a couple of miles. That's kind of what Toyota is known for in terms of they'll beat the wheels out the competition and reliability-wise. This thing will probably hit 1,000,000 miles without even shedding with so much as a tear because it's, Toyota, Lexus. But I'm not sure how many people will actually miss this vehicle. Again, it's got pretty cool styling, but I mean, they never really put the effort into, showing off its capabilities at the track or, really putting big marketing initiatives behind it. But let me know, is this something where, have you ever seen it on the road and like actually turned your head? Do you know anyone who even bought it and appreciated it? And then do you know anyone who's going to go out and buy the final edition because it's got red brake calipers and a couple extra bits of carbon fiber taped on 3M tape? Not that there's anything wrong with 3M tape. It's a great, reliable tape. But let me know in the comments because, as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, trying to get at 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.